tonight, Mark.
The interesting thing is Cornerstone opened their season just the other night against our conference rivals Goshen and lost in overtime. Well, we'll talk more about that as this game progresses. Right now, however, Derek Troyer getting the tip-off as he brings the ball up court into Patrick Hopkins. Into Troyer, who has a free lane.
Nice find there, Derek Troyer. He averages 4 assists on the night, but there's his first bucket.
Tonight we want to keep our eyes on their 2 starting point guards, Yoder and Bates. So far not having touched the ball. George Jones bringing it down though to Aaron Martin, who had the hot hand the other night, to Widener, who drives in. Nice basket.
So good at hanging in the air and finishing there. IWU up 4 points quickly here in this first half.
Number 12 is Ronald Bates, the senior guard from Grand Rapids. Pass it off to number 23, Wes Hudson. Aaron Martin, and the Wildcats will get the ball.
IWU hoping to set the tempo early. They got a lot of fans here, packed house. Number 2 versus number 6. IWU's got to start early, and that'll bode well for them throughout the rest of this game.
Aaron Martin, number 30, bringing the ball in, tossing it to Derek Troyer. Aaron Martin, of course, scoring 22 points the other night, hitting 6 of 6 of three-pointers in the first half. Hopkins out at the top of the key, passing off to Troyer. Troyer into Hopkins, double-teamed, goes out of bounds, he gets it.
That's a no-no. Coaches always say that. You do not throw the ball back and bounce under your own basket. They did that there, and they paid the price, Mark.
Here's our big man, Dan Purcell. Pass off to Justin Yoder, back to Bates, into Purcell. Purcell around Hopkins, right-handed semi-hook, and that's good. 6-2. Ronald Bates with the interception. Setting the play up, getting over to Yoder. Into Purcell. And it looks like we're going to have our first foul. That foul is on number 50, Dan Purcell. Derek Troyer will be inbounding the ball for the Wildcats. We see full court pressure early. Troyer gets it into Widener, who's bringing it up. Guarded loosely now by Bates. Derek Troyer moving through the lane. No good. Rebounded by number 21, Jake Plight. Hudson bringing the ball up, off to Yoder. Over to Plight. And we're going to have our first foul of the evening for the Wildcats. It's number 34, George Jones, the 4th. That is his first. Bates to Yoder. Tipped away by Widener. Yoder retains control. Yoder trips. Gets it over to Purcell, who passes to Hudson. Three-point attempt. Rebounded by Purcell. Yoder with the three-point attempt, and it's good.
That's one thing IWU has to limit. Second chance opportunities, they pay the price there with Yoder.
Derek Troyer around the key, coming over to the right side to Jones, into Hopkins. Hopkins guarded. Widener tossing the ball away, trying to get it into Hopkins. Misses that pass.
IWU comes out with a quick 4 than 6 point lead, but Cornerstone right back. This is why they're so big in these games. Big time games, they really bring it. Number 6 in the nation.
Bates bringing it up. Over to Plight. Back to Bates. To Yoder, number 10. He's stopped at the edge of the key. Back to Bates. Bates with the jumper, no good. Picks up his own rebound. And he gets the basket.
So quick and elusive there is Ronald Bates. George Jones is guarding him so far this game. Interesting matchup. George obviously the taller player, but Bates very scrappy.
George Jones into the lane, no good. Rebounded by Hopkins, and a foul on Hopkins. Or actually, Hopkins fouled. And that foul will be on number 12, Ronald Bates. That's his first. Hopkins will be going to the line to shoot 2. And he makes his first. Game is tied now at 7. We're going to get a chance to see that play again. Little technical difficulties.
That's one thing Patrick Hopkins has really been working on, his free throw stroke, Mark, in practice. He does a nice job. He's got to really follow through, just like there. Just didn't get that one to go.
The game continues to be tied. Jake Plight bringing it off, handing it off to Bates. Troyer closely guarding Bates. Tossing over to Yoder. Into Plight. Turnaround jumper, good. Troyer pressing the ball up quickly. Guarded closely by Bates. Aaron Martin with his first 3, no good. Very close to a double dribble on the part of Plight. Bates directing traffic for the Golden Eagles. Into Yoder, left-handed jumper, good.
Bates is so quick off the dribble that he creates so much in the paint area there, able to pass it off to fellow senior Justin Yoder, and really a lot of things go through Ronald Bates. We're going to see that, I think, throughout the night, Mark.
Hopkins goes in and gets the layup. Bates bringing the ball up. 11-9, Cornerstone. Ty Mason now in. Yoder with a long three-pointer, no good. Bates with the rebound. We're going to get a foul here. That foul is on number 44, Jordan Widener. That is his first. And we're going to have a timeout. It's a full timeout. 15:05 remaining in the first half. Cornerstone with 11-9 lead. We'll be back. The Golden Eagles have settled down and are now have been ahead for the last minute or two in this game. This is Connor Hogan in now for the Golden Eagles.
Yeah, 5-second call there. Too much dribbling up at the top. Great defensive pressure there by senior Derek Troyer.
Taylor Schoen now in for the Wildcats, passing to Troyer. Has a nice behind the back dribble over to Widener. Tyler Greathouse also in for the Wildcats. Widener with a jumper, no good. Rebounded by number 21, Plight. Yoder pressing the ball up. And rejected by Taylor Schoen and Tyler Greathouse.
A dual effort there, but I think Taylor Schoen got the most of that one. Great stuff there by the junior player coming off of the bench and making contributions early.
Number 14, Ty Mason, getting ready to inbound the ball for. And here we can see this nice rejection. Hogan running the offense on the outside, getting it over to Mason. Hogan, great defense, and he tosses the ball away. DJ Bettinger now in for the Wildcats.
You see Coach Tonigal subbing in quite a few Wildcats here in the first 5 or 6 minutes of this game, trying to keep Cornerstone, the Eagles, on their heels and really put some fresh legs in there.
Bettinger bringing the ball up, guarded closely by Connor Hogan. And he gets tripped up, and it looks like, they call the foul on number 3, Connor Hogan. That'll be his first, the team third. Taylor Schoen inbounding the ball for the Wildcats. Getting it tossed back to Bettinger. Again, guarded closely by Hogan. Widener on the right-hand side. Coming around Greathouse. Greathouse loves to shoot the three-pointer. Instead, he drives, gets a good look and a 2 points.
Great drive by Greathouse, got his defender in the air, and the freshman took it right to the 10.
And so Taylor Schoen will be inbounding the ball for the Wildcats. The score is all tied at 11. This is an opportunity for them to come up and to get that lead up. George Jones on the outside, getting around Taylor Schoen, picked up nicely by the Golden Eagle defense. Schoen and the Tyler Greathouse, another nice play.
Great drop step there by Taylor Schoen. It finds Tyler Greathouse right there on the other end. Nice play by the Wildcats.
Hogan passing over to Hudson. Nice through the lane move by Ty Mason, and that basket is good. Widener walking the ball up, guarded closely by number 23, Wes Hudson, one of the starters. Also out there on the edge is Ty Mason, number 14. Tyler Greathouse once again driving to the hoop for his third basket in a row.
This may be a coming out party for Tyler Greathouse.
Shot by Hudson, no good. Rebounded by the Wildcats. DJ Bettinger bringing the ball up. Widener over on the left-hand side, putting the ball down in a dribble, setting up things. Tyler Greathouse with a three, no good. George Jones attempting to get the rebound, not able to get it over number 55, Derek Kingshot. Three-point attempt, rebounded by Kingshot. Passing off to number 24, Pepper.
Get the ball, Connor!
Number 14, Ty Mason driving in, and he will be charged with charging.
Still second and third opportunities there for the Eagles. IWU has to limit those. They get away with that one, but still just a 2-point lead about 8 minutes into this first half.
Both teams substituting a lot. We've seen this with the Wildcats. It just speaks to the depth of both of the benches.
Mm-hmm. Both coaches putting out a lot of substitutes early, and
Number
I think
30,
that's just
Aaron
thinking it's going to be a long night.
Aaron Martin back in the game. He'll be bringing the ball in for the Wildcats. He sees Hopkins, picks up the ball, tries to get around number 50, Vassell, and is successful. Bates back in for the Golden Eagles to Vassell, to Hudson. Bates with a three-pointer, no good, rebounded by Hopkins, and there will be a foul on number 24, Justin Pepper.
Pepper, one of 6 freshmen for the Eagles, relatively young team. Only 4 upperclassmen, 3 seniors with Yoder, Bates, and Vassell, and then just 1 junior as well, and Derek Kingshot. So really a younger team, but they've done a nice job of really adjusting to that and their schedule so far. They lost 6 freshmen or 6 seniors from last year, so really they're filling a lot of gaps.
Aaron Martin handing off to George Jones, and unfortunately Jones cannot hold on to the ball. He loses it out of bounds, where Cornerstone will now take it inbounds by number 23, Wes Hudson. Bates bringing up the ball, getting into Hudson, who drives in the lane, hands off to Vassell. Nice shot. And the basket is good. Aaron Martin bringing it in. A little bit of full court pressure on the part of the Golden Eagles. Not real tough. Troyer getting it into Hopkins. Thinking about kicking it out to Peters, but instead gives it to Jones, who drives, and the basket is good.
First basket by George Jones. They got to get him more involved early in this game.
Hudson passing it off to Vassell. Tapped away by Jones. He's driving, holds on to it, it's good.
Nice finish with the left hand, scooped it up and in. George Jones with a quick 4 points.
Cornerstone getting back down into their front court really fast. Couple of shots, rebound by Hopkins. David Peters driving, pulls it out to Troyer. Back to Hopkins, back to Peters, driving around Vassell. Bad pass, intercepted by number 21, Jake Plight.
Got caught in the air there.
Plight driving in on Hopkins, good shot.
We've seen the tempo go up a little bit, Mark, here in the last couple minutes. Back and forth we go, up and down the court.
Wildcats are gonna have to do a really good job on transition defense. Hopkins firing over to Peters, to Troyer, three-pointer, no good. And another long pass. Hudson holds up, gets it off to number 21, Jake Plight, and he will be called for travel. More substitution for both teams. Widener in now for the Wildcats, as well as number 32, Zach Vandewater.
First action for another freshman from Warsaw, Indiana. Vandewater done a nice job, 6'5". He provides a little height down there underneath as well.
Patrick Hopkins driving in, nice pass. Nice pass to Vandewater, however, he couldn't hold on to it. And then in the process of trying to get a hold of the ball, he traveled. Plight now inbounding to Hogan. Troyer on Hogan. Hogan bringing the ball up. Getting over the half-court line to Bates. Bates guarded closely by Peters. Gets the ball into Plight. Back to Bates. Hands off to Yoder. To Hogan.
It's going to be a moving screen on the Eagles. It's going to be an offensive foul.
Number 10, Justin Yoder will be charged with the foul. That's his first sixth team foul. Vandewater inbounding the ball to Hopkins. He's driving on the basket with Purcell on him. Layup no good, rebounded by Hogan. Hogan taking a three, no good, rebounded by Peters. Out to Troyer. Troyer driving on the lane, no good. And it looks like number 21, Jake Plight, charged with his first foul. We are now in the bonus with 17 fouls. However, Peters was in the act of shooting, so he will shoot 2.
Derek Troyer did a nice job of driving to the rim there. Kind of got away with getting caught in the air, but still got a blocking foul. You never want to get too high in the air. You want to dish it off or at least go to the basket and attack strong by yourself. But he was able to make the most of that one. 5-point lead now for the Wildcats.
DJ Bettinger just checking in, replacing Peters. Troyer with his second free throw attempt. And it is also good. Aaron Martin now coming in for Derek Troyer. So a little bit of a taller lineup for the Wildcats. Plight inbounding the ball to Hogan. Brings it up court, back to Plight. Looking for Bates, doesn't find him. Gives it off to Yoder, who's double teamed momentarily. To Bates. To Purcell, who finds Yoder on the right-hand side of the floor. Little confusion on their offense. Bates now picking the ball up. Shot taken, no good. Attempted to be rebounded by Martin, who looks like he will be charged with the foul. So that was Aaron Martin's first foul. That is only the third team foul for the Wildcats. Hogan attempting to bring it in, gives it right to Jake Plight, right under the basket, and that shot is good.
Nice find there. Clearly a miscommunication for the Wildcats.
DJ Bettinger now bringing the ball up for the Wildcats. Ronald Bates guarding him closely. Bettinger getting it over the half-court line, no problem. Vandewater out to Widener. Aaron Martin, another three-point attempt. It's good.
There he is. Maybe that'll get him started. His first three-point bucket of the night. Of course, we said last game he had 6 in the first half alone.
Hogan out at the point. Passing to Yoder on the right-hand side. Widener driving on him. Into Purcell. Purcell working on Hopkins. To Jake Plight. And there will be a Wildcat foul on that play. That foul is called to number 32, Zach Vandewater. That's first foul for Vandewater. So that's going to send to the line number 21, Jake Plight, the sophomore forward, 6'7", out of Sparta, Michigan. Misses his first shot. Bates now comes out of the game. See Aaron Martin with his second three-point attempt and his first three-point basket. Plight now with his second free throw attempt, and it's good. 50% from the line there for Plight on those 2 free throws.
You mentioned Bates just went out for the first time in this game. It's going to be interesting to see who takes the point. Probably number 3, Connor Hagan, just a freshman. IWU needs to capitalize on that and put some pressure on the youngster.
Aaron Martin wanted to inbounds it all the way to Hopkins. However, we still end up with a Hopkins to Martin basket. 28-20, an 8-point lead for the Wildcats. Hogan out on the right-hand side, running the offense to Plight, over to Yoder. Yoder with a 3-point attempt over Widener, no good. Plight rebounding with a shot, no good. Rebounded by Yoder. 3-point attempt by Mason, no good. Rebounded by Martin. Bettinger bringing up the ball, tossing it to Martin for a 3, no good. Hopkins tipping it around, getting the rebound, giving it to Martin. Oh, it goes through his hands, but Widener is able to pick up the ball. They'll reset the offense. Hopkins will drive into the lane, no good. Aaron Martin with the rebound.
Wow.
And it won't drop.
Really a Patrick Hopkins and Aaron Martin show out there, really working together. Looks like Aaron Martin's got to go to the line and try to finish this. Put IWU up 10 possibly.
That foul was on number 3, Connor Hogan. That is his second. There is now a officials timeout. We're going to take a break. You're watching Wildcat basketball on WIWU TV 51. Yes, we kind of expected it given the preseason rankings of these 2 teams, Chase, and it hasn't disappointed at all.
Largest lead by either team. IWU up 8 now. Hoping to put it to 10, double-digit lead here with Aaron Martin. Yeah, like you said, another top 10 matchup here in Lucky Arena the last couple weeks. The start of the season, IWU's has some tough, stiff tests, and they've certainly answered the call here. We'll see if they can do that again tonight.
Aaron Martin with his first free throw, and it is good. We can see the play here before that Aaron Martin was fouled on. So number 23, Hudson bringing the ball up for the Golden Eagles. Troyer on him, passing over to Yoder, getting it into Plight. Plight so far, he's going to be the guy we're going to have to figure out a way to stop him.
Seems like he's just going under the radar a little bit, sneaking in, finding the crevices in the IWU defense and finishing.
He has 11 points already in this game. He has half of the Golden Eagles scoring. George Jones out on the left-hand side, driving to the basket. Pull-up jumper, no good, and there will be a foul called on Aaron Martin. Actually, that foul was not called on Martin, but on Vandewater. That is his second, number 32. Jake Plight bringing the ball in for Cornerstone. Stops at the top of the key, gives it off to Mason. Can't find any room. Cornerstone has a lot of good ball movement, just like the Wildcats. George Jones coming up with it. He's driving on Yoder. Yoder does a fairly decent job of blocking the way. George Jones does a great job of handing off to Troyer, who puts that basket down. 10-point lead for the Wildcats. Nice inside pass to Yoder, no good. Great House with the rebound. Getting a little bit of pressure. He's already put the ball down on the floor. And Coach Tonigal encouraging him to get the timeout. And so we're going to have a 30-second timeout. One of the things, Chase, we haven't had an opportunity to talk about is this game is game 2 here in Lucky Arena tonight. This weekend is a special challenge between the Mid-Central Conference that the Wildcats play in against the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference that Cornerstone is a part of. And so tomorrow, earlier, before this, that's right.
Capitalize on that and maybe take this challenge here in Lucky Arena this weekend.
Now, the only game that Cornerstone has played has come against another MCC team, Goshen. They lost that one in overtime the other night. Derek Troyer to Martin with another 3-point attempt, and it's good.
Nice play off the timeout there. Martin sets his feet, knocks it down. There's 10 points quick for Aaron Martin.
Ronald Bates guarded closely by Jones. Getting it to Hudson. Goes over to Purcell, who does a nice job of getting around Greathouse for the basket. Troyer bringing the ball up. Both teams have a very fast transition offense. Troyer with a nice jump shot, no good. Rebounded by Purcell. Almost taken away by Troyer, but Hudson gets around. Out to Bates, who takes, he stops. Dishes to Purcell, who's going to drive in. They find number 55, Kingshot.
The Eagles do such a good job of doing the inside-out game. There, Bates drew the defenders in, kicked it back out, and then they attacked right back into the paint. 2 more points for the Eagles.
George Jones getting around Greathouse, who then moves over, and Jones flips it to him. Troyer on the left-hand side, back to Greathouse, who's trying to drive in. There's a mismatch in height. Unfortunately, it's slapped away. And Kingshot with the layup.
Transition opportunities for Cornerstone. IWU just kind of caught off guard the last couple possessions. Still up 7, though.
Couple of turnovers, couple of fast break baskets. Troyer around the left-hand side, guarded by Purcell. Out to Vandewater, back to Troyer, who takes a three-pointer. No good. The ball is rebounded successfully by Vandewater, who gets it back into Greathouse. Greathouse moves in. Aaron Martin with the rebound and the putback.
Aaron Martin does the little things correctly. He does the big things like knocking down threes as well, but he's just one of the kind of a glue guy for IWU and really one of their main playmakers the last several games.
Last weekend, we saw Aaron Martin foul out in the first game and then have a pretty quiet second game, but games 3 and now game 4, he has just really come alive and is showing what he's capable of doing. Foul is called on number 20, Tyler Greathouse. That is his first foul. Wildcats have 16 fouls, still not in the bonus for Cornerstone. Dan Purcell, the 6'8" senior forward from Grand Rapids, he will be going to the line to shoot 2. And after bouncing around a little bit, the ball drops. Wildcats bring in 4 new players, George Jones being the only player left on the court in that substitution. So Bettinger, Widener, Peters, and Hopkins back in for the Wildcats. Purcell with his second shot, he makes both. DJ Bettinger getting the ball from Jones.
It's a little bit of the freedom that Coach Tonigal has. Mass substitutions, they can get away with that though. They go about 8, 9 deep, so IWU, that makes them so tough as well, Mark.
It really does. The depth on the bench is impressive. DJ Bettinger, 13 on the clock, on the shot clock. Widener going up. Ball goes out of bounds. 9 seconds now on the shot clock. Plenty of time for the Wildcat offense to get set up and to run a play. Widener out to Hopkins. Decides to keep it, runs back in. Plight picking up the ball. DJ Bettinger and Peters all over him. Plight tosses it. Ronald Bates gets the feed and the basket. Now that 10-point lead we had is down to 5.
Just like that, just about 2.5 minutes left to go to. Ronald Bates, one of those guys, he seems like he's just everywhere.
Bates having scored 4 on the evening. Bettinger now at the top of the key, guarded by Hudson. He takes a shot, no good. Nice rebound by Hopkins, gets the basket and is fouled.
That's what makes Patrick Hopkins one of the most dynamic players in this MCC, able to position his body underneath. And he's a big guy. He can really work his magic down there underneath the basket, and he gets so many kind of scrap points.
You see the wingspan of Hopkins reaching back there and just getting that, and then a nice job of getting up. The foul is called on number 50, Dan Purcell. That's his second. Hopkins now goes to the line for his potential 3rd point. Oh, in and out. Rebounded by Plight, handed off to Bates. Back to Plight, guarded closely by Jones. Back to Bates. And we're going to get a foul. And that foul is going to be on Cornerstone, number 14, Ty Mason. That is his second. They now have 10 team fouls, which means that when there is a foul not in the act of shooting. Instead of a one-on-one, they'll get 2 free throws. DJ Bettinger bringing the ball up. Bates guarding him closely. Gets it off to Peters on the right-hand side, into Hopkins. Back out to Widener. Drives on the lane. Shot, no good. Widener gets his own rebound. Still missing his second shot. And there will be a foul on the Wildcats.
Nice job of sticking with the play if you're Jordan Widener, but still not able to finish on that one. Cornerstone's got to go to the other end and hopefully knock down some free throws if you're an Eagle fan.
That foul is on DJ Bettinger, his first. Now we are in the bonus for the Cornerstone. So number 55, Derek Kingshot, will go to the line on a one-on-one.
Looking around the arena, you have quite a few the schools represented, quite a few fans from Cornerstone making the trip down.
George Jones with the rebound of that missed free throw. Bettinger now with the ball. Coming up the right-hand side to Widener for 3. No good. Rebound by Kingshot to Bates. Bates keeping the ball. Pulling up at the key. Jake Plight losing the ball. Hopkins making contact as he slid out of bounds. So Cornerstone will keep the ball. 1:37 left in the half, 25 seconds left on their shot clock.
Boy, it seems like this first half has flown, Mark.
The pace of this, we will see. Obviously, it's early in the season. We'll see what kind of conditioning both teams in. I suspect they're both in excellent condition. Really shouldn't be an issue. Kingshot gets it, hands off to Bates, over to Yoder. Yoder's been very quiet tonight, into Plight. Over to Mason. Back to Bates. They've got 3 small guards in. Tipped away as they try to get the ball into Kingshot. Peters bringing the ball up now. Over to Widener. George Jones in good position to save that from going out of bounds. Patrick Hopkins driving in. We got a little bit of a mismatch in terms of height. Jones with the 3-point attempt. It's going to be rebounded by Jones. Trying to get the ball over to Widener. It is intercepted by Mason. Mason, who keeps the ball the entire way, puts it on the glass, no good. And it looks like David Peters is going to get called with a foul. And that, in fact, is who picks up the foul. The senior from Cedar Falls, Iowa. That is his first foul. 55.5 seconds left in the half. And Ty Mason, the freshman guard, will go to the line. And he misses his first. There we can see that foul. And I can see why the Wildcat faithful were protesting a little bit, because it certainly looked like Peters had his position.
Maybe just lifted that right foot just off the ground. That might have been why they called the blocking foul.
So the second free throw is good. A timeout has been called. It is a timeout by Cornerstone. 39-33 is the score, and we'll take a break. We'll be back. You're watching Wildcat Passion. Just a few minutes ago, that this first half has felt like it has just flown, and I think not only there haven't been a whole lot of timeouts, not a lot of stoppage of play. The other thing is both teams play at an incredibly fast pace. Yep. Troyer attempt to get the ball into Hopkins, goes right through Hopkins' hands. Tipped by a Cornerstone player, so the Wildcats will retain possession. 24 seconds left on the shot clock. Widener getting it out to Hopkins, over to Martin. Derek Troyer back in. Martin putting it on the floor. Gives to Hopkins for 3. No good.
I'm not sure that's what IWU wanted on that possession.
Now, and unfortunately, none of the Wildcats had good offensive rebound position. There's about a second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. Cornerstone looks like they will be content to work it down for a last shot in this half. Yoder handing off to Bates. Now 8 seconds left on the shot clock. Bates driving on Jones, takes a shot over Martin, rebounded by Hopkins. Goes full court. That was a little bit of that series of plays was just a little awkward there at the end. This is while you're finishing watching first half highlights. Ronald Bates had brought the ball up. Yoder was driving around, and it looks like we're going to pick up a real quick foul on the part of the Wildcats. That will be on Aaron Martin. That should be his second. And just like that, a foul picked up on the part of Dan Purcell. That is his third. I would think that's going to concern head coach Kim Elders here for Cornerstone.
Purcell, one of only 3 seniors, too.
And in fact, we're already seeing number 55, Derek Kingshot, getting ready to come into the game. So Purcell will have a seat here just in a little bit. Derek Troyer driving on Purcell. Patrick Hopkins with a follow-up shot, no good. We're going to have to see who that foul is on. And that is on number 21, Jake White. White, the sophomore forward, 6'7", from Sparta, Michigan. That is his second. Coach Elder's not liking that call. His argument being that that was not a shot that Patrick Hopkins was doing. Shouldn't be a free throw. Referees politely disagreed. So Purcell coming off the bench, Kingshot coming in. They lose about 4 inches on that exchange. That Cornerstone, not an extremely big team. 7 points, still 2-0 was the score in terms of second half scoring. Aaron Martin now very quickly picking up his third foul. Now the official scorer is saying that is only his second. We'll go with the official scorer, but I thought for sure that was his third.
Again, Jones on Bates up top. We'll see if he can stick with him stride for stride. So quick off the dribble.
Bates over to Yoder. Both of these guys, Bates and Yoder, are part of that national championship team, bringing senior leadership to this team. Wes Hudson, number 23, getting ready to inbound the ball to Bates. George Jones has the decided height advantage on Bates. Yoder dribbling around to his left, over to Bates also on the left-hand side. Yoder now coming back to the right-hand side. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Into Kingshot, no good. And that foul was called on number 33, Patrick Hopkins. That is his first. Looks to me like, Chase, like already in the second half, the refs are going to call this game much closer than they did in the first half.
A lot of up and down play in that first half, but this second, it's been a lot of half-court sets, and both teams got to pound it down low. Patrick Hopkins, interesting, only his first foul. You would think, he's pounding underneath every time down the floor, but still done a nice job of keeping his hands up and not reaching in.
Kingshot missing his first free throw, takes his second, and that is good. Kingshot not getting a whole lot of arc on that free throw shot. Derek Troyer feeding into Patrick Hopkins. That lane was wide open as Hopkins went down, though he was closely guarded. Good clean block. Jordan Widener going to inbounds the ball. Gets it over to Jones, into Hopkins. Taylor Schoen now in. He almost loses the ball, gives it back to Hopkins. Hopkins driving with 2 guys on him. Back outside, Troyer almost tripping. Nevertheless, is able to drive, and he will get fouled.
Again, good ball movement by the Wildcats, able to get it out to Derek Troyer, who's so good at driving and hanging those little pull-up jumpers about 5 to 10 feet area. He really rules that area. Let's see if he can knock down free throws as well. One of only 2 seniors on this year's team, really providing that leadership role.
That foul was called on number 23, Wes Hudson. That is his first, team third for the second half. Troyer makes the first one. So far, a minute and a half in, there has only been 3 points. Well, I guess actually 3 to 1. Make that 4 to 1. Not a tremendous amount of scoring early on. Bates bringing the ball up for the Golden Eagles. And a nice interception by Troyer. Taylor Schoen pulling up to get control of it, off to Widener, to Jones, back to Widener. Widener driving, nice shot, unfortunately doesn't go. Cornerstone pushing the ball up. Not as fast as the coaches would have liked. Hudson driving into the lane, loses the ball to Taylor Schoen. Widener driving on the right-hand side to Schoen. Takes a shot, no good, rebound by Kingshot.
Gradually seeing this game get more up-tempo, back and forth we go. Flight again, he gets another bucket, cuts the lead to 6.
George Jones, pull-up jumper, good. Cornerstone faithful wanting a foul after that basket by Plight. Hopkins fell on him. Got more action out here on the side. Oh, and there is a technical foul on number 10, Justin Yoder.
That was right in front of us, Mark. Clearly frustrated was the Cornerstone bench, and the players on the court were as well. There's number 10, Justin Yoder, the senior. You'd like to see a little more leadership out of him, but he kind of mouthed off to the ref a little bit there, and that's what picked him up the technical.
Coach Elder's trying to get the attention of the ref who called that, wanting to talk to him a little bit as to what's going on. Coaching staff not happy with the way this game is being called. Troyer misses that technical free throw shot.
We have seen a little more physical play in the last minute or two, though, Mark. It
really has.
Pick up.
Troyer missing the shot again. Conversation continues here between the coach and the ref. Wildcats will inbound the ball. Taylor Schoen going down to inbound the ball to Derek Troyer. So the technical doesn't necessarily hurt the Golden Eagles in terms of the score. David Peters now in for the Wildcats. Patrick Hopkins double teamed. He gets the ball out to Troyer, fakes. He gets his shot blocked by Plight. However, they're going to say that he stepped on the line.
We'll see if that technical foul just a moment ago really sparks this Cornerstone defense, and see if they were able to get out in transition offensively as well. You kind of see the intensity gradually picking up here. I can just feel it.
I'm afraid right now Cornerstone is looking more frustrated than motivated.
That's true too.
Derek Troyer's driving in on Bates. Turnaround jumper, no good. Nothing is falling for either of these teams. Hudson with a three-point shot. It is good. And slowly the Golden Eagles are climbing and back into this game, only a 3-point, in large part because the Wildcats have gone cold. Finally a basket by Schoen.
Taylor Schoen getting a lot of minutes here in this game. Tonigal really likes the matchups that he sees out there defensively, and when he can chip in a couple points like that, it certainly doesn't hurt.
Yoder with a three-point attempt, no good. Patrick Hopkins with the rebound. To Troyer, a nice 2-on-2 opportunity. Takes a shot, no good. There will be a foul on that play. And that foul is called on number 23, Wes Hudson. That is his second. Hudson with 3 points on the game.
I think that's what really sets IWU apart offensively in transition. They got players like Derek Troyer, David Peters, even Jordan Widener and Taylor Schoen, who's just specifically out there right now that I'm mentioning, can all take it off the dribble, coast to coast, and really have a great ball handling skills and able to collect their bodies once they get towards the basket and finish. If they can finish at the free throw line, it's a different question.
Yeah, Troyer now missing, 3 shots in a row at the free throw line. Patrick Hopkins going over him just saying, hey, take it easy. You're fine. Relax. We got some substitution now for the Wildcats. Greathouse in. Peters has been in. Schoen is in. Troyer is in. And Troyer sinks his second free throw. Here comes DJ Bettinger in for Troyer. So, as is typical the case, Coach Tonigal getting his starting players some rest at about the 4 to 5 minute mark in the half. Kingshot tossing the ball to Bates. George Jones applying a tiny bit of pressure on Bates, keeping him honest. Mason, number 14, back into the game, getting it to number 24, Pepper. Hudson driving on Peters, out to Bates for a three-point shot. No good. Rebound by Schoen. DJ Bettinger bringing the ball up. Bettinger, great-looking freshman guard. To Peters, back to Bettinger. Bettinger getting a lot of good minutes early in the season.
One of those guys that just doesn't turn the ball over, may not put a lot of points up.
Greathouse with a nice shot, no good. Wildcats just have gotten a lot of good shots, but are really growing cold. And we're gonna have a timeout here. This appears to be officials' media timeout. And tonight, it is the Golden Eagles of Cornerstone University.
We've been kind of spoiled, I think, here at Lucky Arena. Wildcats quick 4 games at home. They're gonna have to go on the road starting next week.
Hudson for Cornerstone with the ball. Tries to take a jumper, changes his mind. Gets it to Mason. Mason into Pepper. Rebounded by Hudson. And we're gonna get a foul on one of the Wildcats. And that foul is on number 10, David Peters. That is his second foul. Bates bringing it in, getting it to Kingshot. Back to Bates. Trying to get around Peters. Three-point attempt, no good. George Jones having to deal with Bates, who does a great job of getting in his face. Cornerstone getting the ball back. Hudson out here on the right side. Drives into the center against a lot of big men. And that will go back to the Wildcats. We have 15 turnovers for Cornerstone to 8 for the Wildcats.
It was 12-8 at halftime. 3 quick turnovers here for the Eagles. See if they can minimize those, because they're going to have to. A 6-point lead for the Wildcats. They can't let it get too much more out of their hands.
And that 6-point lead, which is what it was at halftime, is kind of amazing given the kind of the cold shooting here in the second half for the Wildcats. Bettinger back out to Peters, into Hopkins, who's back in the game. Driving in, gives it to George Jones, 8-second on the shot clock. Tries to get it up, passes it out. Mason driving all the way down with the shot. Not hitting the basket at all. Yoder for Cornerstone back in the game. Yoder got called for a technical a little bit ago. So he took the bench, cooled off a little bit, and he's back in.
One of those guys that you have to put back in there, one of the 3 seniors. See if he can cool off and play his game.
Purcell, their big man, back in the game. He's got 3 fouls. It'll be interesting to see if the Wildcats try to go inside on him. Pick up that 4th foul. Bettinger on the right-hand side over to Schoen. Nice bounce pass into Hopkins. And unfortunately couldn't put the basket in. However, Yoder looks like he's going to get called with the foul, and it is Yoder.
That's what you call threading the needle, I think, there for Taylor Schoen.
That was a gorgeous bounce pass. That is Yoder's second foul. Hopkins going to the line to shoot 2. Misses his first. We've not only gone cold from the field, we've kind of gone cold from the free throw line. Here's that bounce pass right into Hopkins. It's just too bad he couldn't have gone a little stronger with that height advantage. And he misses the second. So Bates brings the ball up now for Cornerstone. George Jones guarding him out at the top. Gets the ball over to Mason. Into Bates, who drives the lane, threads right through, but doesn't make the basket. The basket will be short. DJ Bettinger bringing it up to George Jones, into Hopkins. Hopkins back to Bettinger. Bettinger gave it a thought, pulled it back. Into Hopkins. And gets a good shot after having the shot blocked, but he just can't get those baskets to drop. George Jones on the rebound.
Seems as though there's no answer for Patrick Hopkins underneath Dan Posell doing a nice job all night trying to front him, but Patrick Hopkins sticks with the play. And the Eagles, it seems that they've caught watching the ball, not putting a body and boxing out the Wildcats, and that's really cost them several times here in this game.
All right, Hopkins finally makes a free throw. That foul was called on number 24, Pepper. You can see here Pepper clearly getting some skin. George Jones with a nice rebound attempt. So Patrick Hopkins comes to the line for his second free throw attempt. In spite of this sloppy play, we now have an 8-point lead. So Bates bringing the ball up. Jake Plight in the game, trying to set a pick on Vandewater, who's now in the game for the Wildcats. Mason back to Bates. Into Plight. Yoder with a long three-pointer, no good. Rebound by Mason. Tosses over to Bates for another three-point attempt, and it's good.
Three-pointers, long shots like that result in long rebounds. The Eagles get one there, and Bates puts it in for three.
Whoa, heavy contact between Widener and Ty Mason. Ty Mason, that is his third. He's come in and given them some really good minutes, the freshman guard. So now, Jordan Widener to the line. And with Cornerstone with 8 team fouls, he got a one-on-one, made the first, and will get a second. That was a pretty hard foul. At least they certainly acted it that way, didn't they?
Yeah.
Here comes Widener with his second shot.
Widener deceptively strong, though, Mark. He's upper body. He can control it so well. When he gets in that triple threat position, he can do so many things.
Bates bringing the ball up. A lot of contact. We saw that in the first half, and it just continues here in the second half. Plight out at the top of the key, getting over to Yoder. Yoder getting it inside to Posell. Posell, nice strong move. However, it's batted away by the Wildcats. Troyer comes up with it. He drives the lane, backs it out to Hopkins. Hopkins kind of stumbles with it a little bit. Which, Chase, we're seeing a lot of that tonight. Just when the ball comes to the Wildcats, they're not able to hold on to it. They kind of fumble around with it and lose some of the momentum on that. Foul called, once again, Hopkins fouled. That foul was called on number 21, Jake Plight. That is his third, so there are now 3 players for Cornerstone with 3 fouls.
9 team fouls here. We're going to look at the replay. Patrick Hopkins, he doesn't do a whole lot of fancy things. He just puts his shoulder down, attacks the basket, and he goes to the foul line more times than not, hoping to put IWU up 8.
Misses that shot. Rebounded by Posell. Widener down there to provide good, plugging up some action there. Posell moving in on Hopkins. The ball is kicked out of bounds. Cornerstone will retain possession. So number 23, Wes Hudson, getting ready to bring the ball in. Gets it to Plight, back to Hudson. Yoder, and I think Derek Troyer, either he or Widener, nope, it was Widener who got called with the foul there. That is only Widener's second. It's the Wildcats' 5th team foul.
We mentioned how fast that first half went. I think this second is going to take a lot longer just by these fouls alone. You see there the trip up with Yoder. But there are going to be a lot of foul calls later in this half and a lot of free throws. We'll see if these teams can capitalize on that.
Hogan back in for the Golden Eagles. Troyer guarding him closely. Back to Yoder. Back to Hogan into Plight. We're going to get a foul, though, however, on Taylor Schoen. That is, in spite of Schoen's role of being kind of the enforcer, that is only his first foul.
Smart player, though, too. That accounts for that.
Yoder likes to get that ball and then drive to his left side, but he's not getting any openings in that lane tonight. Hogan throwing the ball away. It's tipped, however, by the Wildcats, so 23 seconds left on the shot clock. And Golden Eagles are going to call a full timeout. 11:25 remaining. You're watching Wildcat 5 remaining in the game. The Wildcats with a 51-44 advantage over the visiting Golden Eagles of Cornerstone. In the preseason NAIA rankings, they were ranked 6th. They are the defending champions. However, as Chase mentioned earlier, they lost 6 players from that team. Hogan driving.
If they will lose tonight, it will be their 2nd consecutive loss, 0-2 to start the season. That would not look good for the defending champions.
That foul called on number 12, shown that is his 2nd. He's picked up 2 pretty short order here. We're now in the team bonus, so number 3, Connor Hogan, going to the line with a one-on-one. He makes the first, and he will get a 2nd. We haven't seen Aaron Martin for a while because of his, well, I'm not sure. He doesn't.
3 fouls.
Yeah, he does have, they corrected that. He does have 3 fouls. So Aaron Martin now in for the Wildcats. And Hogan making both of his baskets. Troyer back in the game. He will bring the ball in, gets it to Jordan Widener. Widener taking his time bringing the ball up court. Wildcats uncharacteristically just taking their time setting up their offense.
Getting into the half-court set. Hopkins falls down on that one. We'll see if Troyer can dish.
Troyer, even though he is the short man in there, they had good matchups and he was able to drive right to the lane. We've got a foul on the Wildcats. That foul is on number 32, Zach Vandewater. That is his 3rd. Hudson to the line. Shoots his first shot, makes it.
I think we're going to see these foul calls even out pretty quickly here. 8-9 now in the fouls. 8 for IWU, 9 for the Eagles. Like I mentioned, a lot of free throws got to be shot in the last 10 minutes in this game.
Both free throws made. A 5-point difference. Cornerstone made a little bit of foot contact with the ball, so they'll bring it back and start it again. Troyer bringing the ball inbounds, gets it to Widener, no foot this time. Widener over to Troyer. Troyer dribbling around right now on the big man. Nice matchup there. Purcell came out to guard Troyer, and that left Hopkins guarded, but with the decided height advantage. Hudson guarded closely by Vandewater, and he will try to pass, but it got tipped. Golden Eagles retain possession.
IWU finally putting some buckets in, but their defensive intensity, I think, has really resulted in those baskets and both ends of the floor. IWU really turning it up in the last couple minutes.
Derek Kingshot bringing it in over Patrick Hopkins. Bates back out there, as well as Plight. Hogan back to Bates. Aaron Martin on him. Going on the inside against the big guys. And they do a great job of keeping it in play. Shot attempt and a putback by Kingshot.
Again, multiple opportunities. That's got to make you pay. 5-point game for the Eagles.
Kingshot now with 9 points. He's the 2nd leading scorer for the Golden Eagles. Vandewater still in the game, tossing back. Now to Widener for a 3. No good. Rebound by Hopkins, and they will count it.
Potential and one play for Patrick Hopkins. It seems like he's just the trash man. He comes every game. Shots go up. That's when his eyes light up, I think. He's just so good at collecting those and putting them back for points.
Hopkins now with 18 points for the Wildcats. He's having a great game.
seems like he always has a quiet 20, 25 points. If there is such a thing, you look up at the scoreboard, you don't realize he's had that much of an impact. But every game, that's why he's first-team All-MCC player last year.
Jake Plight, who was the leading scorer for Cornerstone in the first half, now picked up his 4th foul. He's on the bench. Hopkins making that a 3-point play with his successful free throw. Now an 8-point lead for the Wildcats. Jones giving good pressure to Bates, into Hudson, takes a jump shot, and it bounces around but drops.
That lead stayed at about 6 or 8 the last couple minutes. We'll see if the Eagles can really put a dent into that and make this a 2 3-point game.
Troyer dribbling around over the left-hand side, back out to Jones. Back to Troyer, they're trying to get it into Hopkins, guarded closely by Purcell. Widener way on the other side. Gets a good step, and the basket. Number 14, Ty Mason, falling down, which really helped.
Widener now with 6 points. Certainly had an impact on this game, though, on both ends.
Bates to Purcell. Purcell from the free throw line, no good. Rebounded by Hopkins. Troyer pushing the ball up. He's got Martin on the wing here, or Widener rather. Oh, we got a nice look at a 3-point and didn't get it.
That's one when he's left open, he usually knocks down.
The crowd was ready for that. And Bates with a nice pull-up jumper.
Here we go again, 6 points.
6 points. Troyer bringing the ball up slow, and Coach Toniga will take a full timeout. 8:08 remaining in this game. It's 6 points. You're watching Wildcats. The lead for the Wildcats was 6 at halftime. It remains 6. This game has, in fact, I don't think, Chase, we've hit the 10-point gap at all in this second
Not in the
half.
second, no.
And we get up as much as 8, and then they slowly claw back.
Yeah.
So the Wildcats are going to be inbounding the ball. Schoen will be bringing it in. Yoder guarding him. Ref encouraging Yoder to step back a little bit. Ball goes to Troyer. What we've seen in the last couple possessions for the Wildcats is a definite slowing down of their offense.
Yeah. Seems like Coach Toniga is content in shaving this shot clock down about 10 or so seconds before they take a shot.
Troyer goes in, loses the ball. However, looks like Schoen is going to get called for the foul. And in fact, that is Taylor Schoen's 3rd foul. And because we're in the bonus situation, Cornerstone will get a 1-on-1. Yoder will go to the line. We have one more foul to give before it kicks into 2 free throws. Derek Troyer right now talking with the ref a little bit. So Yoder is going to the line. And he makes the first free throw, so he will get a second.
The 6th point for the senior from Shipshewana, Indiana.
Combination of Yoder and Bates, we have held them to a grand total of only 15 points tonight.
That's big.
George Jones attempting to throw it to Greathouse. And they will call over and back. And so Cornerstone will get the ball on that turnover.
Coming right at us there, Mark, but clearly an over and back call. The referees were a bit confused there, I think, for a second, and might have gave the ball to the Wildcats for a second there.
King shot in. They got the 2 big guys in. Bates driving in. Nice block by Schoen. He throws it back, though. Mason gets it. And they're going to call that a 3-point shot and a foul.
I believe that was an off-ball foul, but they're going to count the basket. You don't see that a whole lot. They're going to count that basket by Yoder. And then Dan Purcell. Excuse me, looks like
there's a little bit of confusion.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Bates will go to the line. That was called, though, on Taylor Schoen. That ought to be his 4th.
A little bit confused by that one, Mark.
I am too, because they must have called that occurring just at the time he was shooting on this side.
But it was released, so they counted the basket.
Yeah. So there's the potential of a 4-point play here.
Potentially
5.
Or
5 point, that's right. And no good. King shot with the rebound. Yoder. Bates. Now this game is 1 point, 60-59. You can see Cornerstone has got the experience. Even though they lost a lot of players from last year's team, they are not down over the deficit.
They're not fazed by this situation by any means.
Aaron Martin, he hesitated just a bit. He had an open 3-point look. Hopkins on the right-hand side, guarded closely by Purcell. Hopkins, and there we go, 3-point shot.
Great look there by the freshman. His first points of the night, but come at a crucial time, putting IWU up 4.
Purcell with a 3-point shot. He had 1 foot over the line. He stepped backwards, got the shot, and all we've done is trade threes, and the point deficit is still 1 for Cornerstone. 1-point lead for the Wildcats. 6:20 left in this game. DJ Bettinger now guarded by Bates. Over to Jones, to Widener. Hopkins and Purcell doing a little bit of pushing around. Widener trying to drive in on Purcell. Gets the ball tapped away. He retains possession. Shot clock down to 10. Hopkins on Purcell, guarded now by Yoder as well. Into Jones, takes the shot and it's good.
Patrick Hopkins not panicking when he couldn't find a fellow teammate, but finds George Jones on the backside, able to finish in the paint for 2.
2 seconds were left on the shot clock as George made that shot. Jones now on Bates. And we're gonna get a timeout by Cornerstone. And we can't tell whether or not it's a 30 or a full. They're gonna take just a 30. 5:40 left in this half, or in this game rather, 65-62. We don't have...
Very close, like you mentioned, Mark.
And the 3-point range, 28% to 23%. Cornerstone hitting more 3-pointers now in the second half. And
IWU missing 10 free throws too, that's huge.
But getting 14 to 11. Yeah, the free throw percentage not good. Also being out-rebounded 40 to 32. Hudson with the ball out at the top, guarded by Bettinger. Wildcats in a man-to-man defense at the moment. Hudson with the shot, long three-pointer, and it's good. He got over, very good height on that jump shot. Widener driving to the basket, and he's fouled by number 24, Justin Pepper. That is Pepper's 3rd. Ronald Bates, number 12, getting ready to come back in for the Golden Eagles. Widener with his foul shot. That is good.
The Eagles coaching staff frustrated over here by that foul call, but you got to give Jordan Widener credit there. He's one of those players that he makes a foul call, you know, he really sells it when he goes to the basket. He's so strong going up. He doesn't go weak. He puts his whole body, his shoulders are squared to the basket, and that's why he gets the foul calls more times than not for the Wildcats.
Widener, a 6'3" guard. Very solid young man. So 2 points is the lead for the Wildcats. Bates coming up. George Jones doing a great job of getting on him. Hudson, however, getting the ball back. Yoder with the shot. Yoder with the three-pointer. And now Cornerstone with the 1-point lead.
First lead of this half, I believe. One of the first of the game, Mark.
Yeah, it's been probably since about the halfway point of the first half that they had a lead. Patrick Hopkins on the inside. Hudson contesting the ball, does a nice job. There's a turnover. Jake Plight back into the game. Plight, 4 fouls. 6'7" sophomore forward. Bates bringing the ball up. You can sense the momentum has shifted.
Cornerstone with their best lineup in as well. All 3 seniors as well with Plight and number 23, Wes Hudson.
Hudson around, gives it to Yoder for a 3. No good. Tipped around Bates. Oh, and Bates will be fouled by Patrick Hopkins. That is Hopkins' only his 2nd foul. So Bates goes to the line. Bates now has 13 points. Make that 14. You know, there for a while, the combination of Yoder and Bates was held with not a whole lot of scoring, but things have changed considerably.
Exactly. Bates at the half only had 4 points, now 14. So certainly turning it up here in this second.
We're going to take a break. Average about a 6-point lead for the Wildcats throughout the second half, and in the last couple of minutes, Cornerstone able to really apply some good pressure, and some of the poor shooting by the Wildcats starting to catch up. Bates making his 2nd free throw, so now a 3-point deficit for the Wildcats. Plenty of time left as Troyer brings the ball up court. Troyer over to Widener, trying to get it into Hopkins. He goes around Purcell. Basket counts! And that'll be Purcell's 4th foul.
Hopkins did a nice job there. Kind of caught, almost traveled on that one. The Cornerstone coaches over here will tell you otherwise that he did, but hanging in the air, got that one to go. He does so well every time. We're going to see a replay here.
He does a nice job of backing in on Purcell. Boy, I don't know. I didn't see a whole lot of contact, but we'll take the foul. Hopkins free throw, no good.
Doesn't matter.
So it's a 1-point game with Ronald Bates bringing the ball up for the Golden Eagles. To Hudson, guarded closely by Troyer, who's able to knock the ball away. And they are finally going to call a foul on Troyer. And the ref warning the coaches here to take it easy. That is Troyer's first. Troyer now with 11 points on the game. Aaron Martin with 12. And number 33, Patrick Hopkins, the leading scorer with 21 points. Aaron Martin is back into the game. This is number 23, Wes Hudson at the line. And he makes his basket. 3 points, we are back to 2 in terms of a deficit for the Wildcats. 3.5 minutes now remaining in the game. Troyer dribbling to the left-hand side into Hopkins on Purcell again. Handing off to Jones, but it is knocked away, intercepted by Bates. However, they're going to say, I think he stepped on the line. So Wildcats will get a fresh 35 and opportunity to close this gap. Widener out to Hopkins, over to Martin right away. Martin gets fouled on that shot by number 21, Jake Plight. And that is Plight's 5th.
He
will be gone. And so number 55, Kingshot, getting ready to come in.
Aaron Martin really selling that foul on that 3-point play. Squared up and kind of kicked his legs out a little bit. We see a lot of that in professional basketball when the player, 3-point long shot and kind of kicked their leg out and did a little acting. But I think Aaron Martin did get a little contact there for the personal.
Aaron Martin will go to the line, shoot 2. He misses the first. Or was that from 3-point range?
I believe he's going to get 3.
Yep. So he's got 1 more. After this, he makes the second, misses the first.
free throw might be too close for Aaron Martin. He's used to shooting those 3-point.
And he gets the second one. 1 point difference, 71-72. Bates bringing the ball in, guarded by Jones. Bates over to Yoder. Out to Purcell. Purcell managing to stay out of foul trouble. Gets it into Kingshot on Hopkins. And they're going to call that on Hopkins. That is Patrick's third. So we've seen this second half a lot of foul calls by the refs. I think they're clearly calling this second half closer than the first.
Both teams in the double bonus, so they'll shoot 2 every personal from now on out in the last 3 minutes of this game.
Kingshot missing his first. And he makes the second shot, so it's a 2-point game. 73-71. Derek Troyer bringing the ball up court.
Look for some ball screens up at the perimeter and try to find Aaron Martin on the baseline.
Troyer deciding to keep it. Patrick Hopkins comes close to touching the rim, but wisely pulls back, and the game is tied at 73. Both of these teams are experienced. I think we're going to see this one go down to the wire. Bates getting into Yoder, who loves to drive on that left-hand side, and he gets the basket.
Gets the friendly roll, 11th point for Justin Yoder, the senior.
Patrick Hopkins going in on Purcell. High shot, no good. Aaron Martin with the rebound, and he's going to get fouled. So let's see who they call that on. Aaron Martin has been sacrificing body and limb. Derek Kingshot with the foul. That's his first. So now you're going to see this rebound off a Hopkins shot. Aaron Martin goes up high, and Kingshot comes from behind and pulls him down. Aaron Martin makes his first. And we're going to have a timeout on the part of Cornerstone. A little bit of confusion here as to who called the timeout. But clearly it was Yoder who called the time, and they're going to call it a full timeout. 2:14, you're watching Wildcat basketball, WIWU TD 51. Back to the line with 2:14 remaining. He's already made his first free throw. And if he is successful on the second one, the game will be tied 75 all.
Couldn't ask for anything better here. Number 2 versus number 6. Tie ball game going in. 2 minutes left to play, and Lucky.
Hudson now bringing the ball up. Derek Troyer on him. Hudson drives all the way to the hoop. Misses the shot. Rebound by Hopkins, handing off to Widener, and now Widener is bringing the ball up, handing off to Troyer, and Troyer will set up the offense with 1:52 remaining. Troyer picked up by Purcell. Jones now back to Troyer, who is guarded now by Bates. Back out to Hopkins, and it looks like they're going to call a foul on number 23, Wes Hudson. And that'll be Hudson's fourth.
Thought for a second that might have been on Purcell, who would have been his 5th. So foul trouble for the Eagles.
So Hopkins will go to the line. Hopkins, the leading scorer, he's been stuck on 21 for a while. And now we got 22. And the Wildcats go up by 1. Shown in, Aaron Martin out.
Offensive, defensive exchange.
Hopkins with his second miss. Nevertheless, the Wildcats have a 1-point lead. Bates is bringing the ball up for Cornerstone. Hudson on the outside. Nice bounce pass to Purcell. And that is going to be it for Purcell.
Did I mention it's a defensive exchange? Taylor Schoen getting in there, doing his job. Great for the junior.
Taylor Schoen taking his position. Purcell putting the ball down and knocking him over. And that'll be his 5th. He is, so Cornerstone already with 2 of their starters out. So Widener bringing the ball in for the Wildcats. Aaron Martin back in, Schoen out. Schoen did his job. Bring back the offensive player. A minute 20 remaining in this game. Troyer dribbling up. Widener been able to get that ball back after it bounced off a lot of hands. Aaron Martin down on the inside, a mismatch on Mason. Martin for 3, yes!
Aaron Martin steps up big there. 19 points for him. Most importantly though, putting IWU up 4.
Bates taking it, going all the way to the court. Good pull-up jumper. And very quickly, Cornerstone calls timeout with 52.8 seconds remaining. The Wildcats with a nice 2-point lead. This is a full timeout. So we'll take a break. Come back for hopefully the conclusion for Wildcat basketball on WHAC TV 51. 9-77. This is number 2 versus number 6 in the preseason NAIA rankings. Wildcats are 3-0 on this season, hoping for win number 4. Cornerstone 0-1, looking for their first victory in this early part of the season.
Oh no.
Bates.
Great play by Bates. Capitalizes on that poor inbounds throw for IWU. Derek Troyer just kind of caught off guard there by Ronald Bates, the senior. Right place, right time. Puts it in, hopes to capitalize.
Troyer picked up his 2nd foul. Bates now going to the line to shoot 1. And now they have a 1-point lead with 47 seconds remaining. 13-second difference on the shot clock. Troyer seeing Jones momentarily in the lane, trying to get the ball into Hopkins. Back out to Jones, back to Troyer. And we're going to get a little foul on number 12, Bates.
Again, Troyer putting his head down. Quick off the dribble, and he gets the benefit of the doubt on that one. Going to go to that foul line. A little bit of a chippy call maybe there, but IW will take it.
That is Bates' 2nd. Bates now has 20 points on the evening. Troyer going to the line, having scored 13 tonight. And that is his 14th point. Game is tied, 29.6. Here comes the replay of that. And you can see a little bit of contact made between Troyer and Bates. And Bates was in the act of moving, so that's always going to go on the offensive side. Troyer with the shot. Oh, bounced around, no good. Game continues to be tied, and the shot clock is off.
Yep. It's going to come down to this. The Eagles are going to take 1 shot.
Bates guarded closely by Jones. Coaching staff calling a timeout for Cornerstone. 13 seconds remaining in this game. It's a full timeout. So we'll take another break. You're watching Wildcat basketball on WIWU TV 51. On second thought, we're going to stay here.
Yeah, might as well. It's exciting, 13 seconds.
The gym is rocking. We've already seen 1 overtime on this season.
Yeah, exactly. This is overtime central here in Lucky Arena the last couple weeks.
And for Cornerstone, their loss the other night to Goshen College was in overtime as well. So they have, we'll see, 13 seconds to go, but it's a possibility we'll go into another overtime here this evening.
You got to wonder what Coach Kim Elders for Cornerstone is drawing up right now. You got to think Bates off the dribble and something with Yoder or possibly Purcell underneath.
Elders is in his 19th season with the Golden Eagles. So he's got a lot of experience. These are the defending champs of the NAIA. They've got a lot of experience. The Wildcats are experienced. So this is a battle of the Titans.
Excuse me, Posell is fouled out. I forgot to mention that. So King Shot's in there underneath. So not a whole lot of height down there. Patrick Hopkins guarding King Shot. So let's see if they go for an outside shot or try to pound it down low.
Yoder looking to get it into Hudson, who hands off to Bates. 10 seconds now. They're looking clearly for the last second shot. 80 tied. Bates drives, shoots, blocked by Jones. A last second shot by Troy. Oh, no good.
Wow. I thought that was going to go. Derek Troyer did a nice job of getting that rebound, outlet pass. Almost.
Number 14. Widener getting the tip. Possession arrow then now in favor of Cornerstone. Troyer driving to the lane. Nice basket.
Good dribble drive there by Derek Troyer. Almost got that last second one to go, but he puts IWU up quick in this overtime period.
Once again, we've seen Jones on Bates all evening on the defensive side for the Wildcats. Bates attempting to get to Yoder.
Wes Hudson with a three-pointer there for the Eagles.
Jones out on the right-hand side, back to Widener, again into Patrick Hopkins, where Jones, he rebounds and then gets the shot.
Nice job of following the shot there for George Jones. Should have got the first one, but stuck with the play.
Jones now in double figures on scoring tonight. Wildcats up by 1. Bates out in the front, hands off to Hudson. He thought about shooting. He pulled it down. Troyer is on him. He just tipped the ball away. Jones running in, and the basket is good.
Nice steal and bucket by George Jones, hanging in the air, finishing with the left hand.
Wonderful job by Troyer tapping that ball away. And we're going to get a foul. That foul is on number 30, Aaron Martin. That is his 4th. So we may see 14, Ty Mason going to the line. He will be shooting 2. Mason with only 3 points in this game, missing the first free throw. And missing both of them, Aaron Martin coming up big with the rebound. Derek Troyer calmly walking the ball up. We saw this for the last 5 minutes or so of the game. Troyer with a nice open shot, no good. Rebounded by King Shot, number 55. Bates bringing the ball up. Yoder off to the left-hand side, guarded by Widener. Get the ball to Mason, now to Yoder. Yoder coming on the right-hand side. Doesn't like that move as much as he likes going on the left. Back out to Bates. Bates driving in against the big guys. Misses the shot. Hopkins up. Tips it away. Bates now with a three-point attempt, and it's good.
Second chance opportunities again for the Eagles. They winded the clock down to about 5 or 10. Put up a shot, but then again, Bates with a big three-pointer.
Jordan Widener now, don't know if he landed wrong or if we've got the cramping problem like we had last weekend. We'll have to see what the trainers are able to do. Aaron Martin coming down now to inbound the ball. Handing off to Troyer. 2:31 remaining in this overtime period. Game all tied at 86. Into Patrick Hopkins. Back out to Troyer for a three. Oh, that looked good and just rebounded by Schoen and gets the basket.
Taylor Schoen, right place, right time. His first 2 points of the night. Couldn't have asked for a better time of that.
Does a great job of getting the position on the rebound and gets that shot. Mason driving in on Schoen. Basket no good. King shot with the rebound, gets the basket. Game back tied, less than 2 minutes now to go. 1:50 remaining in this overtime period. Troyer now setting up the offense for the Wildcats. Over to Jones on the right-hand side, into Patrick Hopkins towards the top of the key. Back to Schoen. Oh, attempting to get it to Jones. And that'll be a turnover for the Wildcats. Yoder pressing the ball up, 1.5 minutes remaining. Kicks it back out to Bates.
Again, Jones on Bates. We'll see if he can guard him on the perimeter.
Back to Yoder for a three, no good. Aaron Martin goes up and boy, that was a close one. He was rebounding over number 23, Wes Hudson. And Wildcats will get the ball back. Derek Troyer bringing it in, 1:17. And a timeout. Coach Tonigal, and he's going to take a full timeout. 1:15 remaining. Wildcat basketball and WIW TV. Wildcats against number 6 ranked and defending NAIA champions, the Golden Eagles of Cornerstone University. We're into our first overtime period. Something tells me, Chase, I wouldn't be surprised if we go into a second overtime period. The way
things have gone, that would seem so. Tied at 88, 31 seconds left on this shot clock. IWU seems content to really run it down. Coach Tonigal will see what kind of play he can pull up here out of the timeout.
Aaron Martin passes in to Troyer, taking his time, getting to Widener. Hopkins trying to get the ball into Hopkins on the inside against King's shot. Puts the ball on the floor, turns around, good!
Little drop step hook for Patrick Hopkins, 24 points for the junior.
And they did not double down on Hopkins that time, and I think that was one of the keys for Hopkins' successful shot. Bates over to Mason. Hudson taking a spill, but no foul. Martin down on the ground. Mason with a shot, in and out, no good. Rebounded by Hopkins, 37 seconds. There is a 5-point differential on the shot clock. Derek Troyer are going to hold on to it for just a little bit. Coach Tonigal shouting directions. Wildcats with a 2-point lead. This basket, very important.
Looks like they're going to...
10 seconds now on the shot clock. Now we're starting to move. 5 seconds. Troyer is going to take it, dish it out to Aaron Martin for 3. And no good. And it looks like Martin got fouled on the play. And that foul is against number 14, Ty Mason. That is his 4th foul. And Martin will go to the line and shoot 3.
Couldn't ask for a better play there for the Wildcats. Dribble drive from Derek Troyer, and again, they left Aaron Martin open. I don't know why they do it, but got a good look and still can't finish those free throws. Got 2 more, though.
Martin missing his first. Here comes his second, and he makes it. It's now a 3-point game. This last free throw, very important. Widener continuing to struggle with his muscle in his leg. He is now going out. David Peters coming in, and Cornerstone calls a timeout. 4.8 seconds to go. The Wildcats with a 3-point lead. They haven't changed the scoreboard for some reason. It should be 91-88. You see that on your... As long as, like you said, as long as they don't foul,
yeah, this should be good.
They should have this game. Now, if he does not make this shot, we have a different ball game.
Both teams have some timeouts left, too, so they could call it if he potentially misses this.
And he does miss it. They're immediately going down to Bates.
Oh, no.
And Troyer is going to, has fouled Bates.
Interesting, though, Bates will go to the line for 2 shots, which in some regards goes into IWU's favor because 3-point lead. He's got to have to make the first and intentionally miss the second one in order for this game to be tied.
Bates will be shooting 2. Troyer has 3 fouls. .8 seconds left in the game. Taylor Schoen comes in. Jordan Widener While he's struggling a little bit with some cramping, he's in the game. Martin and Peters are out. One more shot, 1.8 seconds left on the clock. He puts it off hard off the backboard. Who gets the, and now